Chelsea Football Club bid 50 million plus add-ons for Marc Cucurella after already agreeing personal terms to look to complete today the hijack from Manchester City of Marc Cucurella. As confirmed yesterday on the Football Terrace, the Spanish sources have been absolutely spot on. Chelsea are looking to hijack Manchester United's deal for Frankie de Jong. Talks between the two clubs are now at an official stage, and Chelsea are looking to advance the situation. There's a growing confidence at Stamford Bridge they could sign de Jong and take him from Barcelona, and of course, jump in front of Manchester United that have been negotiating for nearly 14 weeks to land the player. There has been no real denial from most football fans that Frankie de Jong could leave Barcelona this summer. It was whether or not Man United could get the job done. And for a lot of Reds, the fear is now being realised that a big Champions League team who are very close to challenging for titles could be about to pounce. But for Chelsea Football Club, Todd Boehly has been working diligently all summer. And to land these two deals, along with Koulibaly and with Raheem Sterling, would be sensational business. We're going to delve into it and much, much more this morning on the Done Deal Show. But a double hijack in the offering, a double ambush. De Jong to Chelsea, Cucurella to Chelsea. Smash the like and share button. Let's go. Frustrating news for Man United fans this morning, but an absolutely buzzing one if you are indeed a Chelsea supporter. Chelsea are going to try to sign de Jong. There could be a done deal for Cucurella today. Personal terms agreed, plus a 50 million plus bid. Chelsea to advance talks with Barcelona for Frankie de Jong, and they are confident. This is it. This is the truth. This is what's going on. And if you're a Manchester United fan, this is the biggest fear. This was the biggest worry all along, that Chelsea would swoop in, that Chelsea would yield their axe, that Chelsea would come in, because they've been so loosely linked to de Jong. And what was said by Ben Jacobs, what was said by Dean Jones is now coming to fruition. And it's what a lot of people expected, and it's what a lot of people thought would happen. And that's very much, well, Chelsea will wait. They'll wait until the situation is practically resolved. We'll see what the benchmark is. We'll see what the costings will be, and then we will swoop. And all of this comes at the same time as we know the fee between Man United and Barca is agreed, so they know what they need to bid there. Equally, it's been reported this week that Man United are willing to pay a large percentage of the deferred wages that are being owed. So again, it gives Chelsea this standpoint. Chelsea will not have to probably offer as much money as Man United because they have that Champions League football element. One of the areas that has all summer had Frankie de Jong thinking, are Man United the right place to me? Now, I stand by what's been agreed, said in the past by many credible journalists. De Jong is open to joining Manchester United. He has and would be excited about the idea of playing for Erik Ten Hag again. And I do believe that he would agree to the personal terms that Manchester United would offer him. However, as we've been told all summer, teams can agree personal terms with multiple teams at the same time. And he would agree to Chelsea's. It will then come down to a straight choice between the two clubs. And my biggest fear, and I've stated it all summer, and I won't yield from this. I won't yield from this at all. And that's very much that he would pick Chelsea over Manchester United. Now, I got called out. I did a video on this yesterday evening, and I was called out, and I was called out and told by even members of the Terrace, don't speak for me. I'm a Man United fan, and I think we can still land de Jong over that of Chelsea. I just disagree. I just think with the potency and the power that they have, it's not something that I would expect them to get done right now. And this is bad news for Man United. And I'm going to react to this more from a Man United standpoint later. Right now, this is about focusing more so on Chelsea because this is Chelsea news directly, and I think that's the absolute fair thing to do. Submit here says United really chased De Jong for 4 months, only for Chelsea to swoop in and steal him in a week. So much for them deferred wages if Chelsea and Frankie De Jong happen quick. Well, Chelsea getting De Jong won't be quick. Listen to what's been said by the journalists. This is what happens with hijacks. Liverpool did this with Luis Diaz. You sometimes let your opponent do all the work and you sweep in. If Chelsea would have started the negotiations all those weeks ago, it would still have taken this amount of time. Otherwise, they would have just got it done. But Chelsea have just let Man United do the hard work, it appears, and are going to sweep in. Ginger Fury here says, Terry, I'm so angry. My club is poor at transfers. I tell you what's interesting for me is Chelsea fans that were saying their club's bad. If these deals come off, the Chelsea fans that said that their club's bad at transfers are so in the mud. It is unbelievable. I've been telling Chelsea fans all summer, relax. I've been telling people goading Chelsea all summer, you're wrong. Todd Boehly and Chelsea are serious. They're serious. They're just gone about it in a way which is obscure. They've been very open. They've been very brash. They've been very noisy. They've been very American. And I don't even mean that as an insult. And yes, oh my God, look how many players have been linked to. It looks a mess. Oh, it's chaos. However, when you research the transfer market, it's normal. It's just being played out in front of our eyes. And I guarantee you this, there are lots of industries in this world, the food industry, politics, most certainly, elements of policing. If you actually saw the reports and what went on behind the scenes, you'd probably cack your pants. You know, we saw yesterday outrage because Gordon Ramsay was picking out lamb that he was going to slaughter to eat. So I hate to break this to you, Generation Z. That's the origins of meat. Yes, he was doing it in a gleeful way, but I'd much rather see that from somebody than pretending they don't know where meat comes from. But when you see it, it's like, oh, I feel bad. Like I've watched TV shows where you see the animals, you know, killed essentially so they can be eaten. It's like, oh, it's not nice to see, but I'm still going to eat my meat, right? Some things in life you don't want to see the inner workings of. You just want to see the end product. And transfer seems to be that as well because it triggers people seeing the approach. Silva to Barca now is what KC says. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see that deal go through. City fans don't think it will happen, but I tend personally to disagree. By the way, if we hit 1,000 likes while we're live, we're going to gift another group of memberships out for you. First piece of membership content dropping tomorrow. Getting recorded today, dropping tomorrow. You have to be a member to get it, so make sure you're signed up. We're going to have at least 2 pieces a week. When the new season starts, there's going to be member-only chats. We've obviously got our first live event today, which some of you are coming to. It's going to be this evening, which is for members as well. So listen, really, really happy with what we've got coming up. But if we want to gift out some memberships, get that done, or go become a member yourself. That's the safest way to get yourself involved. Looking forward to taking £200 off Lee Gunner when Arsenal finish above Chelsea. If Chelsea do sign Cucurella, which it looks like they're going to do, if they do sign De Jong, if they've got Koulibaly and Sterling, I think people have got to start writing them off legitimately. Like they've got to start writing them off. Now, I want to touch on the Cucurella deal as well because Cucurella is an interesting one for me. I've seen a lot of people online talk about how Cucurella isn't needed. I don't understand it. Well, he's better than Ben Chilwell, first and foremost. He's versatile and can play a couple of positions if needed. He's also very strong, Cucurella, when it comes to both the wing-back position, the left-back position, and if needed. Now, this is an if needed. He can go into a left centre-back role. He can. The only element that you look at and think to yourself, well, is he worth it? Is he has a current market valuation of around £25 million. So Chelsea have bid more than double his asking price. So clearly Thomas Tuchel and Todd Boehly think there is a player in there. They think there's an individual in there that's worth investing in. And I just think Chelsea fans have got to listen to their manager. It's the first time I've seen in a long time Chelsea Football Club say, we are going to buy the manager the profile of player that he wants. And they're doing that without bias. And yes, it's going to be around, no one knows what the add-ons are going to be yet. I've read somewhere between 5 to 6 million. So you're talking about a 56 million pound deal for Cucurella. But you suddenly add that into a defense with Reece James. You add that into a defense with Silva and Koulibaly, and maybe even still Wesley Fofana, because Chelsea are not, people say they can't afford it. Chelsea have not pulled out of Wesley Fofana talks. They want De Jong, they want Fofana, they want Marc Cucurella. You add those three to Koulibaly and Raheem Sterling. You've got Broja coming in. You've got Gallagher that had a great year last year back in this side. You have got the foundations for an excellent team. And on top of that, your manager is Thomas Tuchel. Sensational business. Thank you very much here to Kieran for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. FFP will ban Chelsea. They won't. Yeah, as long as then Chelsea are nowhere near being damaged by FFP. Two things. One, you have to have sustainable losses over a 3-year period. That hasn't happened to Chelsea. They're spending money now, but they'll make it back elsewhere. The new American TV deal money is coming in, meaning clubs are going to have somewhere in the region of an extra £40 million per season this year pumped into them. So what it appears to me Chelsea are doing, they're almost spending a couple of years worth of money, or at least a year and a half's worth of money in one go. You just subsidize and push the money in next time. Equally, they're going to sell players. Chelsea will sell players and recoup some of this money and income. They've also got rid of players on big, big wages. They're not offering the same level of wages to everybody that's new coming in. Wages are one of the biggest ways to hemorrhage money in terms of your FFP. Remember, net spend isn't the only element that you have to deal with. Simple and as straightforward as that. Frankie de Jong will join Chelsea because Man United haven't won a trophy in 5 years, is what's said there by Mr. King. Let's have a little look here. How far along is the Frankie de Jong to Man United deal? It's been like 2 months since he's been close. Well, that's exactly where it is. And people kind of keep bantering that, but it's the truth. The deal is agreed between the two football clubs. That is cast iron fact. The thought is that he's happy with what Manchester United are offering him. What's holding the deal up is the deferred wages. Now, what's going to be intriguing to see is how much Chelsea are then prepared to offer him, and whether the law of Champions League football is enough for him to go, I will refrain from that deferred wages. Equally, would I be surprised if you hear everything's agreed with Chelsea, but the player wants to resolve his deferred wages because he's not leaving without his 17 million euros that are owed to him? That is still a distinct possibility. Chelsea are working on conversations right now with Barcelona. That means, as we always know, that they've already spoke to the players' camp, and they've, of course, they've been given encouragement that he would sign. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking to Barcelona about this deal. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. It very rarely gets done. So, I mean, yes, United could be bantered if they miss out on De Jong, but the notion that why is it not done yet is nothing really to do with Man United. It's to do with these deferred wages. But we see if Chelsea can change that. We will see if Chelsea can change that. Barca playing games with playing games with Terry. Not really. Not playing games with me. They don't know who I am. Good attempt there at banter there, my friend, though. Good attempt. Building for now and the future. Have you seen the youth signings at Chelsea? Well, that's it. Chelsea have made some very good youth signings as well. I think it's Hutchinson, and they made one yesterday. The young lad's name I don't remember, but very talented midfielder they brought into the club by all accounts. So, Chelsea are moving in a very particular way this summer, and in a way in which that should see, a way in which that really should see, Chelsea fans be far more excited than they've been all summer. I think Chelsea fans have probably been the most downbeat fans who don't need to be. They're a Champions League side. They've got a world-class manager. They've been to every domestic final since Tuchel has arrived. They've won a Champions League since Tuchel has arrived. They are the third best team in the Premier League. They've signed one of the best attackers in Europe, one of the best defenders in Europe. They're about to sign a brilliant left back, and they're now advancing talks to sign one of the best midfielders in the world. I don't understand what any Chelsea fans are unhappy about. Like, you do realize only probably Liverpool and City wouldn't swap with you. I think everybody else in their truest heart of hearts, anonymous vote, could go behind the veiled the curtain and vote for what they want. I believe they pick swap place with Chelsea. Squad, manager, everything. I believe they would. Resources. Most would swap. Maybe not the name of the club or anything, but that's where it's at. to have some respect for yourself, Terry. Barca know who you are. Oh yeah, sorry, my guy. Yeah, I'm sure Barca. I'm sure Laporta sits there most nights watching TFT, saying, "Look at this guy, man. Look at he's built. Look at he's created all by himself. I couldn't have done that." But there we go. Yes, that's the names, man. Now I know what the guy's name is. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to struggle to pronounce that, and I don't want to butcher man's name. But there, I'd say Carney. Carney, I can read his first name, so my dyslexia is bad. Tim B here says, people bantering Chelsea's window have looked desperate. Sterling, Koulibaly, and Cucurella close to the best window in the Prem. Listen, you can't find a better window. There isn't a better window. And if Chelsea bring in De Jong and Fofana as well, there is no better window. You might be able to make an argument for one being on par because, of course, clubs buying players is sometimes a on names only. Chelsea's is the best, and then you have to weigh up. Well, what does my club need versus what does your club need? These things are always key. That they really, really are. Of course, some of the news this morning broke to us by the brilliant David Ornstein. I want to take a look here at what it is that David Ornstein had to say about this situation. We already knew that the news about Cucurella that came out last night from Fabrizio Romano. But as per David Ornstein here, David Ornstein states that Chelsea have offered Brighton 50 plus for Cucurella. Not done yet, as Brighton seek a higher fee and a replacement. I believe that will get done sooner rather than later. Colwell, a top target, so he could leave Chelsea, according to David Ornstein. Cucurella personal terms agreed. Chelsea also in talks with Barcelona for De Jong and hope to strike a deal. But of course, the news about Frankie De Jong to Chelsea has been trending now for 2 days. You know, we did content on it yesterday afternoon where the Barcelona press are stating that he wants to join Chelsea, not Manchester United, that he has agreed that if he leaves, he would go to Chelsea over Manchester United. So am I now surprised to see the Ornsteins and the like talk about this De Jong deal? No. I think because Ornstein is one of the first tier ones to really push this in the last few days, you will see more now. You will see a lot more. Now, of course, you also had, in fairness, it was also pushed out yesterday by Simon, I believe Simon Johnson was very kind of focal on this yesterday in relation to this deal potentially going through. I was going to look for his tweet from yesterday because I think it's important to remember the origins of this information when it kind of comes out. I just can't find his Twitter hack, his Twitter name. But yeah, he basically put out yesterday that and I'm just going to try and find it here, that Chelsea are confident about striking a deal in that area. The problem is with Twitter, like news gets like pushed on so quickly, and it kind of feeds into a lot of what Gary Neville said as well. But it's everywhere right now. What David Ornstein has said here is that De Jong would prefer to live in London if he is forced out of Barcelona. Chelsea are in direct talks with Barcelona for the midfielder and are now optimistic of striking a deal. And that's damning news to Manchester United, as we already know. But I want your thoughts and I want your feelings, people. I want to know where your head's at with this, especially if you're a Manchester United fan and you're seeing and reading this today. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling. Let's get to some more of your live comments here that are coming through. Egal, come outside. Yes. Listen, I just, it's not even a dig. I just kind of feel like sometimes people, when it comes to Chelsea Football Club, I've learned over the years that you just don't get ahead of yourself. You don't start writing Chelsea Football Club off at any point. You just kind of leave them be because they're Chelsea Football Club. You know, the Chelsea Football Club. I don't get why anyone writes them off. It's weird to me. And that's why, like, I get there's banter, but you got to learn when to do the banter and when not. I just want the situation to be resolved. This saga has been tiring. We've got to remember that the Young saga has gone on so long because of Barcelona. It's not because of Frankie. It's not because of Man United. It isn't because another Champions League team haven't made a bid. By the way, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bayern Munich or a PSG or somebody else also now raise their heads above the precipice. And I said that all summer. I had no real fear that he would leave Barca. And he hasn't left yet, and I get that. But I haven't believed he wouldn't leave. And I believe that he would join Man United if he was forced out, as per David Ornstein's comment today. But as I said all along, if a big Champions League team comes in for him, Man United are doomed in this race. And we've now seen it come to fruition. And we knew it was going to happen. Listen, 2,100 people watching, only 260 odd likes. What's going on, people? 1,000 likes. We're going to gift out some memberships. We should be on 1,000 likes instantly. You know, that's your prize for hitting that for us. Get that done right now. Giving fans a platform to voice their opinions. Are you praising us, or are you making a different stat? I don't know what that means. But thank you. Yes, that's what the Football Terrace does on a regular basis. Manish here says, I don't get it. It's never been about Barca and the buying club. Barca can do deals with everyone. It's always been around De Jong and his willingness to leave. Well, it's his willingness to leave, but it's his willingness to give up 17 million pounds that he's owed. And that's the key factor here. If De Jong wasn't bothered about the money and Barca were pushing for him to leave, he would have gone. It's the money that's holding him back. I don't believe it's his deep-rooted love of the club that's keeping him there anymore. Just don't believe it. Not with the way they've treated him. Not with the way that they've been signing people, putting them on big money and wanting him out and not wanting to give him what he's owed. I just don't personally believe it. But that's just me. Let's have a little look here. Terry, I understand why you're worried about Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs. Nothing has changed at United. Fans have been duped yet again. CR37. Well, I would say this about Man United, and I said it in my video last night. Let's see the reaction if we don't land De Jong. Do we go for someone else? Is there, again, he was plan A, plan B, plan C, but not if he goes to another club. You have to change direction. Man United at the beginning of a rebuild. Did I expect us to land all our targets this summer? No. Did I expect Man United to play the best football in the league this year? Absolutely not. Have I seen a step change in approach? We will see. And these things need to be assessed. But I think anybody that believed just because Ten Hag was coming in, the club was going to be fixed overnight are idiots. Been saying it for years here. You've all been watching me for years. A lot of you have. I told you it isn't about just bringing in a new manager at a club like Man United. They're broken. It's about fixing the structure internally. That takes years. It takes years to fix. Years. You can't fix it straight away because of reputation and all that jazz. United should get Tielemans and Lamar, or Tielemans maybe, definitely not Lamar. Lamar is washed these days, in my opinion. De Jong don't want to go to United. That's the problem, Terry. Well, again, people keep saying that, but that isn't. Again, all of the Spanish press have moved the goalpost again. You know, he'd prefer Chelsea over Man United. We absolutely get that. But he would join Man United. It isn't as clear cut as doesn't want Man United. You know, and the deferred wages will still be a big part in this. If I will admit that I was wrong if he goes to Chelsea on 250 grand a week and takes nothing from Barcelona, then I'll say, you know what? Fair enough. It wasn't about deferred wages. Then I'll put my hands up in that. But I'm only relaying what's being said by the credible journalists. So yeah, that's where I'm getting my not information from, because you're all reading the same as me. But listen, it could be very embarrassing for Man United. I've said that many times. But I want to try and keep this on Chelsea. I'll talk about Man United later. I want to hear what this is going to do for Chelsea. I want a little bit of football talk in this conversation. How good are Chelsea going to be with Cucurella? How good are Chelsea going to be if they land De Jong with Koulibaly, with Sterling, with Kante, with Silva, with Reece James? How good? Mason Mount in that team. How good are Chelsea Football Club going to be with these signings? Because I think what's very easy for rivals to do is banter United in this without addressing the big, fat, pink elephant in the room. How good is this going to make Chelsea Football Club? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this, Terry. On this, I do. Comment here says, Terry, you gassing Chelsea? Where will Chelsea get 50 million, 80 million, and 75 million for Fofana? Well, they get it from their bank account. And you do remember that you don't pay cash up front for the majority of these deals. You pay them in installments. So they don't need the cash for all these players instantly. Remember, Man United's deal with Barcelona would see us only pay around £13 million year one for the player. Year one. year one. So you don't need all the cash instantly, my friend. And if you've watched the Terrace long enough and to not understand that the transfers are done in installments, you're just deluding yourselves. Stop pretending you don't know how transfers are done. I don't understand it. Installments. You can spend more than 1 year's money in one summer. Why? You just buy less the next time round. FFP isn't going to come into... If Chelsea made £100 million loss in the first year under the new ownership, FFP won't touch them. It's sustainable losses over a 3+ year period. And even then, the rules are slightly looser because of COVID. There's new TV deal money coming in. They won't break FFP rules. It's nothing to worry about. Like, they've got the money. This isn't even weird. Come on, my people. Stop listening to the newspapers and the trash. Any content creator that talks net spend, don't listen to them when it comes to the money in football, because net spend doesn't exist in that basic sense. And until you listen, go and read Kieran Maguire's work. Go and read Dr. Rob's work around football finance, please. And then I don't mean this rudely, my guy. Please don't take it in the wrong way. Then you'd stop asking these kind of questions. Chelsea can spend this much money. They absolutely can. The new ownership makes that actually even more achievable because it's a fresh start. Under the new ownership can now pump more money in as well. Over £90 million additional money can be pumped in by the ownership over a 3-year period. Just pump it in now. You're already making profits. You've already got big sponsors. You've got new TV deal money coming in. Pump in 90 million of your own. Spend 200 million plus. Spread the cost over 5 years. As long as the only way this goes wrong is if it flops and they've got to try and spend again in another year. But that's the risk they're seemingly willing to take. And if they're willing to take it, they can afford it at the very least. It really isn't something to stress about. And as rivals, if you don't understand it, it's because you believe net spend is real. Chelsea can finish third with this team, is what Sirim Iqbal thinks. Listen, I think third, I kind of feel like, yes, but I also think they've got a chance of really pushing for the title. Edward here says, Terry, you're like a balding guy holding onto his hair. Just accept the fact that Jong wants Chelsea. Bro, again, you can't banter me about something that I've said since day one. I'm literally the guy that has said if Chelsea come in, they get him. So, Edward, you can't banter someone for something they believe in. It's the opposite. So what you've just said, what I agree with. So what am I hanging on to? Edward, that's one of those penis shrinking jokes you just did. Like your girlfriend's looking at you, your boyfriend or your girlfriend's looking at you right now going, bro, don't do that, because now your penis appears smaller to me. Don't do it, my friend. Don't do it. You'll only hurt yourself. Terry, relax. He's coming to Manchester United. We will see. I don't personally believe it. If Chelsea are in for him, I don't. I've said that all along, but we will see, my friend. If Chelsea sign all these players, Cucurella, De Jong, Fofana, they will break the English record of spending near 300 million. Personally, I don't see them spending that kind of money. They might not. They might not. And maybe the thought and feeling is, well, if we land De Jong and Cucurella, we don't sign Fofana. But records are there to be broken, aren't they? Records are there to be broken. The Todd Bowley group promised big amounts of money to be spent, and it looks like that is what they are going to try. That's what they're going to try and do. So let's see how it pans out for Chelsea. But they certainly, whatever people think, they most certainly appear serious. They most certainly appear serious in what it is that they are trying to achieve. We look at the EPL transfer window in isolation, and teams seem to be getting stronger. But how do you think the EPL teams compare to Europe's teams? Well, that's a great question. Look, the English teams, by and large, have been the best in Europe for the last couple of years. And look, Real Madrid won the Champions League last year. They knocked out all 3 English teams, and they deserved it. But the English teams will go into next year's Champions League. PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barca, those 3 are like the real major threats. But the English teams are going to have 3, maybe 4 with Tottenham. We've got to wait and see, that are all capable of winning the Champions League. No other nation has 3 teams highly capable. Many many may. I'm not putting Spurs in that because of Conte's poor record in Europe. But who knows? No other nation has the strength in depth that our top clubs now have in Europe. Simple as that for me. Not at the Champions League level, anyway. In my view, but I'm sure KC is going to disagree with that in a second. If Bernardo leaves, first Liverpool, second Chelsea, third City. Wow, is what Sareem Iqbal thinks. Wow. Bowley Group making a statement on the Prem. Well, they very much could be. They very much could be. And I think what would be interesting if they spent that amount of money, it would be such a thumb in the eye to everybody that said, Roman's gone, no more money. The people that said that are going to look silly. They're going to look like silly billies. They really, really are. But look, I want to speak to you all about this. We're going to share the link if you guys want to call in this morning and have your say about this big breaking news. Of course, I want to know what fans think and feel. Before that, though, I just want to introduce you to our sponsors. Now, I know a lot of you have signed up for this already, and more of you should definitely be using it. But private internet access is available to one and all. It's as little as £1.63 per month. We'll get you 3 months free in this as well. Protect all of your data with private internet access. The website, the link's in our description, or scan the QR code on the screen. Go through exactly what it does for you in terms of protecting your personal data. Available and gives you access on all your devices. And on top of things, zero restrictions on content. What is really, really good, as you can see, is the built-in ad blockers. There's many, many other key features from 24-hour support. No strict login details as well. What's also key is that it comes with an antivirus built in, which doesn't slow your computer down, which does everything automatically that protects your system. So it's part of what VPN does. So get yourself signed up, scan the QR code, do that at the end of the stream, people, if you are indeed interested in that. KJ's backstage. KJ, if you could share the link for me, mate, that'd be absolutely impeccable, my friend. Thank you very, very much indeed. Comment here from Jar L says, I think Chelsea can be dark horses in the Premier League if they get their targets. Only things standing in their way. I don't even think dark horses is the right phrase, my brother. And I mean that with respect. I don't think dark horses is the right phrase at all. If these signings are land by Chelsea, they're not dark horses. They're not they're contenders. They are legitimate 100. They're not dark horses. They're not underdogs. They're not all got an outside chance. They are genuinely bona fiable challengers. You can't put one of the best midfielders in Europe, two of the best centre backs in Europe into a team and not expect them to be vast improvements. One of the best attackers in the last 6-7 years in the Premier League. Sensational. Thank you, Dominic, for the super chat there, my friend. It means a great deal. Todd Bowley is known to be a big spender with these sport teams, so this isn't surprising. But if Chelsea sign him me gusta. Does that mean? I don't know what that means. Is that does that mean something? I'm going to Google it. Me gusta. Does that mean like me happy or something? I don't know. It might do. Me gusta. It does mean something. What does it mean here? It's a song. I like it. Okay, cool. It's Spanish. Okay, there we go. I didn't know what that meant, but there we go. I don't speak Spanish, but everybody like okay. Oh, I've heard it in a song, you know. There we go. Lee here says let's have a little look. Let's have a little look here. What's being said? Okay, yeah, Spanish. I get that. If only making up 20 odd points was so easy. Christ, folks, talk about contenders. But it can be that easy, can't it? It can be, because if you go back and look at a lot of Chelsea's games last year and you look at them objectively, you look at them honestly, you look at them through the right lens, Chelsea Football Club were in a position where they, and I want to make sure I say this in the right way. So many games last year were draws. So many games last year they were the dominant. They were the dominant team, but they just couldn't break a team down, or they couldn't get their second goal, or they just couldn't finish the team off. But they were the dominant side. They drew 11. They only lost 6 last year, and they drew 11. Now, with improving their team, could they turn 5 of those draws into wins? I believe they could, which yields them an extra 10 points. You know, an extra 10 points they would yield. Okay. 5 points to 15. That's 5. Could they turn 3 of those? Could they turn 2 or 3 of those defeats into wins? Let's say they turn 2 of those defeats into wins. You're now looking at a 16-point swing. They were easily the better team in half of those draws and the better team in a couple of those losses. So if they improve and they win it, they lose 2 games less and win them, and they draw 5 or 6 games less and they win them, they have practically closed that 20-point gap. If, for instance, your gap's 20, 30 points and you're awful and you've been battered and you've been outplayed in so many of those games, then yeah, fair enough. But they had a poor December and a bad-ish end to the season when they basically given up and they weren't playing for anything anymore. They couldn't catch the leaders. They were already pretty much safe and secure in the top 4. There was almost a little bit of limbo there. But I think to write Chelsea off, like they couldn't bring it, and it wasn't even 20 points. It's actually 19 points between them and City, and there was 18 points between them and Liverpool. And what you've also got to factor in is it conceivable based on last year that City, imagine City win the same amount of games, lose the same amount, lose the same amount, draw 2 more and lose 2 less. That could happen. Could Liverpool go through next season and draw 1 more game or lose 1 more game and make that gap even easier? Like we've seen it before. You know, go back to the season before Liverpool were challenging for the title. They were 30-odd points behind. Bang, next level with the right signings. Am I saying Chelsea will do it? Not 100%. But to act like they're not contenders, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. If they sign these players, remember, if they sign these players is what we're talking about. We're not talking about in generality here. Terry Bowley's waffling like Kunde, don't panic. I don't know what you mean. I have no idea what you mean. I have no idea what you mean. Can't believe people are unsure about Cucurella. We already have 2 world-class signings and have 2 for the future, and we want more. Trust in Todd. I think you most certainly should be trusting in Todd Bowley. I know his approach is a little bit unorthodox, especially with the noise that's been made, but I think what Chelsea are looking at, I think what Chelsea are doing is class. I really, really do. Yeah, I have got a screen. I was just going to check. I was just going to check. But as you say, like Chelsea could easily garnish 12 to 15 additional points. If Chelsea are just 15 points better next year, 3 more wins, 15 points better. They're 4 points off where City were last year. That makes them title contenders. Like it's sometimes the point differences seem a lot. Sorry, no, 3 more wins is 9 more points. Could they garnish 15 more points? Yes. Now, City might go to another level and get an extra 7, 8, 9 points. I don't think they will, though. The reason I don't think they will is because Chelsea's and Tottenham's and Arsenal's are going to be better. Meaning, I think those points will be spread out a little bit more, not massively, but there we go. I meant 5 more wins, not 3. Apologies for getting that wrong, but I'm only a human being. A comment here from CJ says Chelsea can win the Champions League. Came close last season and maybe fight for second. Liverpool don't seem convincing enough, especially without Mane. Terry's not scared of Spurs. We'll chat about that one. My Spurs video is coming out a little bit later on this week. I'm going to hold back until then because I don't want to ruin the content for you. Surely Ten Hag pull means more than Champions League. I don't personally think it does. I don't personally think Ten Hag's pull, Ten Hag's relationship with De Jong changes the fact that Chelsea are in the Champions League. And let's be absolutely right. Let's have this absolutely right. They're not only in the Champions League, Chelsea. They are very, very capable. Very, very capable indeed of turning this round, maintaining Champions League status, and challenging for titles. That is alluring. You can't get away from it. Can't get away from it. Oba here says, I can see the league winners being in the higher 80s this year and for teams to finish in the 80 range. It could be. It could be. Who do you think would be the top striker target for the likes of Chelsea, United, and Arsenal with Darwin and Haaland off the market? Well, I think you've got to look at people like Shishko that are being looked at now. I mean, Chelsea have already got Brozier, though. And I think that's why Chelsea are not pushing too hard for Shishko right now, because they have someone of similar ilk and level stylistically, appearance-wise as well, like tall, strong number nines. So maybe they want to give him a try rather than dropping 50, 30, 40, 50 million pounds on him. But it's about the next batch. You've got the likes of Osherman that are going to be given an opportunity. He's not really a striker, but Nkunku next summer is going to be an intriguing one with his buyout clause. There's this, everyone's watching the progression of Jonathan David. So there's a number of strikers out there across Europe that are being looked at, but you'll always get new ones emerge. Just as nobody was talking about Benjamin Sesko, he'll now be someone with huge focus. And if he doesn't go to a Man United or a Real Madrid or a Chelsea this summer, if he's as good next season as it's been anticipated he will be, he'll be one of the next people. Point difference is only a benchmark, but it doesn't exist like net spend. Well, this is what's intriguing. You don't necessarily need to get 95 points this season to win the league just because City had 94 last year. There is no rule that says Liverpool and City won't drop off. And I'm not talking a collapse. I'm talking they could easily be 6-7 points worse off points-wise next year, but still be as good as teams. Results just don't always go your way. Like, it's just, that's why teams should always really focus on themselves and being the best they can be and winning as many games as they can win, because you can't always dictate. Some of the best Premier League seasons ever didn't see points higher than the low to mid 80s, but the season was competitive. The teams are brilliant in Europe. It just really depends. And I would say the difference now between teams in this little part of the Premier League era compared to before is there's this want to score mid to high 90 points, where like City and Liverpool very rarely throw games. They very rarely play a team where you think, they might get beat today in the Prem. They might not even need to win. They could be 7-8 points clear with 4 or 5 games to go. It's still the strongest team possible trying to yield those points. That's just different from back in the day. Like, I remember seeing like Arsenal's team. I want to say it was in 98. It might have been a little bit before that. They won 10 games on the bounce and they basically won the league. I think there was 5 or 6 games to go. And they lost 2 or 3 of them. And United looked like they caught them up. But in reality, we were far behind them. It was only because they stopped trying in those last 4 or 5 games, because chasing points totals was never a target of football clubs. But there we go. Things change, don't they, in football? That's the nature of the beast. We have a super chat here that's come through from Blue Hope that says, don't forget the wildcard players who came out of nowhere and show up at the World Cup. Very true. I tend to think, though, it's a bad idea to generally buy players that have had good international tournaments. It doesn't always work out very well. Just historically, doesn't always work out particularly well. Make sure you guys call in if you want to speak today. I want to hear from your Chelsea fans. I want to hear from Man United fans. I want to know what you're here to say, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. The Arsenal blueprint says, worry about your own teams, not others. No, that's nonsense, bruv. If you're a true Arsenal fan and you don't worry and think about Tottenham, you're not an Arsenal fan. If you're a Man United fan and you don't think about Liverpool, you're not a Man United fan. If you got rid of rivalry today, football dies. You have to care about your rivals. It's a prerequisite of what we do. If you take rivalry out of football's, there's no point to it. Yes, we want our team to win, but we want our team to win for bragging rights. We want our team to win to say we're the best. No one cares about being the best over people you don't care about. You need to care. You need to care. And talk about other people's teams. United's transfer window is not good enough, and Ten Hag deserves more backing. 7 years of failure, reshuffled with failure members of the same board. Still, United fans trust them. I don't see United above 6th place, is what Jay has got to say here. And I think a lot of people would agree with you. Carl here says United won't finish in the top 6, is what he believes. And listen, he could absolutely be right. Comment here says, Terry, thoughts on Depay on a free? Not good enough. He's not a good enough football player. If he was good enough, again, is he better than some of the players some of our teams have, including Man United? Yes. Is he better than Alanga? Sorry, KJ, but yes, he is. And no matter how much Alanga prays to God, he ain't going to make him that much better. I can't believe I said that. But it's true, right? No matter how much hallelujah, he ain't going to make him much better. Do you know what I mean? Man could join one of those weird churches where they get bit by snakes. He ain't getting better. Depay is better than him. But if Depay was good enough at the elite level, Barca wouldn't be selling him. So, yeah, he ain't good enough, in my opinion. He just isn't. Okay. I want to hear this refers to striking an agreement between clubs, the players' side. Okay, this is what David Ornstein has also said, by the way, about the situation with De Jong. The player side is a different matter altogether. As far as we know, De Jong's preference is to stay at Barcelona. So De Jong's preference of staying at Barca hasn't changed now that Chelsea is showing major interest, that Chelsea are going to try and advance things. That hasn't changed. Which is what we all know. But I don't think his reasons for wanting to stay at Barca are purely, oh, my love, I love you. It's more to do with give me my money. You know what I mean? Give me my money. Comment here says, history tells you never underestimate Chelsea. Anyone who underestimates Chelsea is a liar. They don't really underestimate Chelsea. They're capping. They're lying. They're chatting breeze. They just are. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but they're just chatting fart. Pure fart. Dog breath. Dog breath. Terry, don't understand Frankie de Jong deal. Chelsea is is he a DM? If you don't understand de Jong's position, I wouldn't write that comment, my guy. De Jong, when you think DM, what do you think of? That is what I'm intrigued. Michael Carrick was a DM. Busquets is a DM. But they're very different from that of an N'Golo Kante, from a Claude Makelele, from a Declan Rice. He is a ball-playing, holding midfield player. Reads the game well. By the way, go look at De Jong's defensive statistics. Very good. Very on par with like your quote-unquote DMs. Yes. Is Basuma more athletic? Yes. Is Basuma stronger in the challenge? Probably. Will Basuma win a higher level of ground duels? Probably. But can Basuma pass the ball like him? Can he distribute like him? No one really can. Barring a handful of deep-lying holding midfielders in Europe, De Jong's up there with the top 5. You can't. That's a commodity which is scarce. So yeah, I don't care about calling him a DM or not. He's one of the best holding midfield players in the world. Simple and as straightforward as that. Terry, big question, Terry. If De Jong won't leave Barca, can't register Lewandowski. I mean, there's talk about there's less pressure now that the third lever has been done, but Barca are still pushing to sell him. So, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? But we will see. We will see. There's so many stories that come out about this stuff. It's kind of hard to know exactly what's going on. Terry, how do you feel about embarking on a new season with McFred still at the heart? Listen, it's terrible, but I'm going to be talking Man United later on today. I don't burn content early anymore. You got to keep your eyes out for that video when it drops, and then I'll give you my opinion, my people. Let's keep this on point. Partey could be great if he stays healthy. He could, but availability is a very important ability, as we all know. Check your sound, Terry. I don't know. What do you mean check my sound? What are you talking about? What's wrong with my sound? I can hear it in my ears and it sounds okay. I get like feed playback. Seems clear to me. Maybe it's your phone. Yeah, I think the sound is good. Someone says check Simon Phillips. I'm checking Simon Phillips now. Chelsea want 33 million for Timo Werner. But that's just it, isn't it? Imagine they get 33 million pounds for Timo Werner. Now they are talking about a loan with a purchase obligation, but that means you can still spend that money now, right? Remember, Chelsea are probably likely at some point to get big money in for Lukaku as well, because he'll do well at Inter, and then they'll buy him. You'll probably find between Werner and Lukaku, they can probably raise 70, 80 million. And then I know net spend isn't real in that conventional sense, but you throw that money back in as income, they can afford to spend big. Plus other players that are looking to leave and move on. Right, let's get to some of your calls this morning on the show. Who am I going to speak to first of all? I'm going to go to the
Speaking
caller.
to me first, bruv. I'm sorry. There, that slander that you just said on our name. Hey, listen.
What name? Whose name? God's name or United's
Elanga,
name?
listen. Elanga and God, innit? Listen, I know. Hey, listen, I know Memphis is better than Elanga. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? Don't worry about that. Yeah. But leave Elanga to his praising of the Lord, bruv. If he
Praise
makes
be the
him better,
Lord.
makes him better. If you don't, then at least he'll have a joyous life. You know what I mean?
I love those priests that do that. You know, they shake, they go, let's shake at the front of the stage. But I love that stuff. My nan was an evangelical. I went to a service once. Mad. Honestly, bruv. It was like a trip.
You and your foolishness, bruv.
It's not. God gave me a sense of humor, didn't he? Hey!
I'll deal with you later. Anyway,
Hey!
listen. This Frankie de Jong news is upsetting, bro. It is. But I will say this though: a lot of people are blaming Man United, the club, and you know me, I will get on the club when I need to get into the club. That's the first thing I look at. But for once, I actually don't think it's on the club. If this goes wrong, I will actually say this is on Ten Hag, because the club have been clearly listening to him all summer. When we wanted Timber and we couldn't get Timber, we went for Martinez, which was a Ten Hag target. The last time we was looking at a target, it was Pau Torres. The club wanted Pau Torres. That's who the scouts and recruitment team requested. Erik Ten Hag requested Martinez. We moved to Martinez. We wanted Eriksen, we got Eriksen. He wanted Malacia, we got Malacia. So the club is clearly listening to Erik Ten Hag on what he wants. So the person really we have to look at, and the stubbornness we have to look at, is Ten Hag's stubbornness again getting Frankie de Jong. We have to get him. Otherwise, it will be his first mistake as Man United manager. And it's not great to have a mistake like that so early on. I'm not, obviously, when I wouldn't be Ten Hag out. I know many probably will, because they're like that because of Twitter. But it's just acknowledging that it's actually like Murtaugh and Arnold are actually just trying to do their job and have been doing it. They'll be listening to the manager and going after the targets that he wants. So if we don't get Frankie de Jong, I have to unfortunately say it's on Erik Ten Hag.
But I completely agree. And this is where football fans need to, you can't be like, we're backing the idea that we're going, we celebrated the news when we were told that the club has dropped its pursuit of Pau Torres for what the manager wants. It is the manager that said all summer, I've got confidence in landing this player. And I did a video on this a few weeks ago and I said it has to happen. You can't put all your eggs in one basket and it not happen and then feel embarrassed. The only good thing about Chelsea coming in now, and the hope is that if Chelsea can get this done now, it leaves time for Man United to go on to a plan B target. Because look, if we finish this summer and we ended up with Youri Tielemans and Ruben Neves in our midfield, I'd still be quite happy. If at the beginning of the summer that was going to be my new midfield, I'd be like, much better than what we got. But it's if we end up having to play the season with McFred, the progression will be damaged by that. We'll still get better as a team. I'll stand by it, but the progression will be damaged. So it's very, very important that United react.
People in the comments, relax. I'm not saying Ten Hag's an issue when he's gonna fail and this whole thing is his like literally. He wants Frankie de Jong. If he told us weeks ago that he wanted Harry Winks, we would have got Harry Winks. You know what I mean? Everyone could like saying, how is it his fault? Like, bruv, he's made him. He wants a player. We don't get the player. You have to admit it's on him, especially if you look at the track record of our transfer window. We've gotten everything he wants. We've gone after everything he wants. Yeah. Well, so it's not. And again, it's not a Ten Hag outing. It's not that means I think Ten Hag's crap. I love Ten Hag. I think he's gonna be great. But he's allowed to make mistakes. Flipping Pep wanted Bravo. They got Bravo in his first season and he was terrible. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, well, look, Pep Guardiola wanted Harry Maguire to replace Company. They went all in, didn't get him, didn't have a new centre-back. Liverpool went on to win the league. And because they then got an injury to Laporte, that was one of the reasons why they moved. So they hadn't have gone all in for Maguire and they'd have gone for somebody else earlier on in the summer, if they would have gone after a player that Pep wasn't saying is the priority, they may have won the league that year. Liverpool, like these things happen. Of course, though, when it's Man United, it's magnified, it's pushed onto another level. But there's a different. This is what people struggle with. You can say the manager's got this wrong. That doesn't mean you're saying the manager isn't good enough. The manager should be sacked. The manager's got to move on. People just don't know how to criticize without being all in. It's as simple as that. KJ, appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. And I'll chat to you again soon, my guy. Thank you. There's a comment I wanted to read out, actually. It says, Terry, I've always wondered why you say God bless at the end of every video if you don't believe in God. So my dad he's retired now as a stand-up comedian. And at the end of all of his sets, his whole career, he would say, thank you, good night, God bless. Just what my dad said. So it's just basically homage to my dad. That's it. It's just what my dad used to say at the end of his shows. I just repeat it. It's a thing for me. It's a family thing. That's all, my guy. Next on the show, the coolest Chelsea fans on with me now. What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. What do you want to say?
Oh man, this news exciting me. I'm seeing rival fans ruling out Chelsea. Oh, Todd Brooklyn. What is that? Oh man, I'm so excited. But again, I don't want to be all hyped, overconfident until I hear. Here we go, because we know what happened recently. We've been hijacked by Barcelona, so I'm just gonna relax and wait and see what will happen.
Mate, you're absolutely. So I'm getting a bit of echo from you. Absolutely right to wait and see what happens. And I've got to mute your mic, mate, because you're getting. Stop unmute. So please leave it muted. Look, I think about it from this point of view is yes, you've got to wait for the yes, you've got to wait for the here we go. But the fact that you've got people like Ornstein reporting on it means there's a very good chance. Now, Ornstein himself has come out and already put a little bit of like water on the fire by saying the player still prefers Barcelona. And every journalist keeps saying that. That's because that's what they're being told. That's what they're being told by the Jong camp. He prefers to stay at Barca. When you read between the lines, though, I still think that's to do with the deferred wages. And I believe that if genuinely Man United or Chelsea offers to pay those deferred wages, or Barca crumble and go, look, we just need you gone. Look, there's 15 million. Then I think this thing could progress. Thank you very much for calling in, mate, and having your say. I really appreciate it. I had a bit of echo problems there on the line. Next on the show, I'm going to go to, we're going to speak to KC. What are you saying, KC? He's a Barcelona fan. What are you saying?
Yeah, Terry, I will just wait for Gerard Romero today, because he's the guy for Barcelona news this season. So I will just wait for him. I don't think you need to worry about it right now, because yesterday he said that Frankie leaving Barca is not that certain now, so it's all over the place right now. So I wouldn't worry about Chelsea. But even if he goes to Chelsea, right, I don't think it makes them title contenders or anything, because Kovacic is a much better player than Frankie de Jong, and they are very similar. And de Jong, no, he isn't a DM though. He is absolutely not a DM. He has I know that he has zero defensive skills. That's what always hurts us, because Busquets and him, they don't know how to defend. So so I wouldn't worry about the Man U deal. I don't think it's off right now.
Yeah, they're holding midfield players, which certain clubs and teams and systems use instead of defensive midfielders. It's just the way that it is. If you've got the majority of the ball, you don't need an out-and-out DM breaking down play all the time because you have the ball. Well, that's just how. But listen, the greatest Barcelona team in your history didn't.
I know.
It didn't have a DM. It had Busquets. So for a Barcelona bone that you don't have a DM is fucking horrendous. It'd be weird, bruv. KC, thanks for the call, my friend. I really appreciate it, brother. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. There we go. Next on the show, Lamin's here. Lamin's a Chelsea fan. What are you saying, mate?
Hello,
mate. What are you saying?
Terry, man. Terry. Remember last week when we nearly got Kunde and I was so gassed and said, I don't know if I can take it if Barca got it. The only way I fucking did it, man. But we move. Right now, I'm very happy with our defensive targets. That's what I like to see. The one thing I like about Todd Boehly is that it's the quality of players that we're going for. We could have so easily done what Arsenal done a couple of years ago and slap 50 mil on a player like Ben White. but we didn't. We only want the top players, and it's natural. If you go for top players, you're going to compete with the top teams. So it's no shame to really losing out to Barcelona. One thing I would say though, I see us being linked with De Jong. Personally, I don't think we need him. We have other positions in our team that we really need to fill out. I'm looking at all of this and I'm thinking, what about the attack? Like we're gonna, if we get all of the players we're linked with now, that's over 200 mil, and I'm very worried that we're not gonna sign another attacker. And if we don't, with the way that we play, then I'm still gonna feel a little bit underwhelmed. I'd rather just let go of De Jong and just bring in another attacker, and especially if we're getting rid of Werner, who's useless anyway, and another ZH can go. So I don't know, but so far I'm gonna wait and see what happens. But yeah, I'm very happy, man. I'm very happy. I don't even know who's out there. Which attacker can come in? I don't know.
But that's part of the point. If there isn't an obvious candidate that your manager wants, you are better off waiting.
Yeah, well,
because when you don't wait, you buy Lukaku's. What you guys should have done last summer is, instead of, you went for Haaland, couldn't get him. Instead of going, right, we'll just give Broja a chance. Broja would have done better in the Chelsea team last year than Lukaku over a full season. Instead, you went and dropped £100 million on Lukaku. If you hadn't have done that, do you know how much money you could have offered Haaland this summer? I'm not saying you'd have got him over Man City, right? But you'd have had that 100 million sitting there, plus everything else. So sometimes you've just got to wait. It isn't about panicking and rushing in. You know, look at last year. City were like, right, we need a striker. They didn't get Harry Kane. Instead of panicking and buying a substandard version for lots of money, they waited and got Haaland. That's sometimes what you need to do. Lamin, great call though, my friend. Appreciate you coming on, brother, and having your say. Thank you, my guy.
No, take care.
Another Chelsea fan on next. Man like Kai is back with us. What you saying, mate?
Hey, Terry, how are you?
I've been better. If you guys take De Jong away from us, I will cry, but I've expected it. I've expected it all summer.
Hey, man, I woke up in the morning. I had a pretty bad night's sleep. Looked at my phone, saw De Jong. I think you know me by now, Terry. You know I'm not a religious man, right? But
I know.
If there's a chance that Chelsea actually gets De Jong, I will become a Christian. I will start donating money. I will change my life completely. I'll go sober, man. That's how much I love this guy, man. I've been seeing Chelsea fans talking about salt and pepper, Declan Rice for 6 months. Imagine if we go with a player who actually is enjoyable to watch. Terry, I hope Oinstead is not just gassing us Chelsea fans, because we need that in midfield, man. So I would be, just the thought of watching him and Kovacic on the same pitch. If you're a football fan, that's just a joy, man.
Mate, it's them two together, and that's what I'm saying. People keep talking about DM. You don't need DMs when you have players like that per se. You just don't. And I think for me, that's where with modern day football, there's always like a fashionable type player, and at the moment, it's like, oh, everybody wants a DM. Everybody wants someone who breaks up the play and is physical. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and De Jong, like Verratti, these types of players are finite. These players are so difficult to come across, and they're top class as well. They really are. And if you guys get him, I know there's what about who's up front? Listen, with the way he threads balls and breaks lines, you are going to create the openings. And the likes of Raheem Sterling, the likes of Broja, the likes of Kai Havertz is due a bigger and better season, but it's about creating more and more opportunities. And I think you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, and just the way he holds up, like what I like about him is the way he holds up pressure. He always knows where to pass the ball through. I know a lot of fans say, oh, he's not the traditional six, the traditional blah blah blah, but he's not really gonna play. Like, we don't really play with the three midfielders like when a sitting DM. We play with 2 6s, and I think his ability to sit back, his ability to pass the ball, I think he would be perfect with Kova, whoever we have there, or Kante. I think he would complement them really, really well. I honestly, I still think he's gonna stay at Barca. Something gives me like he's gonna But we both know if they want to register all their new shiny toys, they need to balance the sheets, because the league are not as pleasant as
and
the
they
Premier
and they
League would
and
used
they
to be.
also want Bernardo Silva. So
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Listen, Kai, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your
Yeah.
say.
Thanks
I
for having me,
appreciate
Terry.
it.
Thanks.
Top man. Speak soon. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Man's going to convert to a Christian if this happens. That's a madness. Thank you very much here to Darren for becoming an official member of the official squad member of the Football Terrace. Thank you very, very much indeed, my friend. Mo's on the show. Mo's a Man United fan. How you feeling, mate?
How's it going, Terry? You all right?
I'm good. I'm good. What's your thoughts on this big breaking Chelsea news this morning?
To be honest, Terry, the De Jong saga has gone on for so long. I'm starting to stop caring about him anyway. Like, if he goes to Chelsea, he goes to Chelsea. Look, he's got a perfect manager in Erik ten Hag. He's going to get good money at Man United. We're going to play the type of football that he wants to play. At Chelsea, is he going to play that type of football under Thomas Tuchel? I don't know. But I think with him is, look, it's either two ways. Either, look, with this deferred wages and whatnot, he must have some shit advisors, Terry. For him to walk into that with no paperwork or no legal nothing, for him to this deferred wages, yeah. If he did agree to take a deferred wages, where's his paperwork? Why hasn't he signed anything? Stuff like that. Also, this could be a Paul Pogba part 2 if it comes to us, Terry. What if he, says, "Oh, I want to go back to Barcelona. I want to go to this club. I want to go to that club." It's getting to the point where I'll happily take a Ruben Neves. Honestly, like, we have to move on now, this Terry. Like, Barcelona, I think what Barcelona want, Terry, is for us to pay the deferred wages to him. But I mean,
yeah,
if he wants to go Chelsea, he can go Chelsea. But I wonder who's advising him. Like, why would you choose Chelsea over United? We've got a manager there, Erik ten Hag, who's going to play your brand of football. You're going to get good money at Man United, probably one of the best paid players in the Premier League. Why would you want to go? And the vision, what we're building. You got Donny there as well. I don't understand why would you want to go Chelsea, but it's up to him. But I'm getting tired of the De Jong saga now. Man United have missed out on big targets. We missed out on Ronaldinho, Terry. We will still fine. It's not like one player's gonna literally, no. Man United have always been fine. Like, obviously not the last 10 years, but I'm talking about history fact. United have always I remember in school when we were gonna get Ronaldinho and we missed out on him, we got Ronaldo. It's not all the end of all. If we miss Frankie De Jong, that's it, Man United are finished. No. We'll go out there, we'll get someone else, and we'll move on. It's just simple as that. But yeah, De Jong's situation, Terry, I don't really like his situation where all these things are coming about deferred wage. It's like one thing after another for him. For me, I say get some good representative, man. Get some good advisors. Get a good agent. Like, literally, when we saw Paul Pogba at United, obviously rest in peace, Mino Raiola. But Mino Raiola actually looked after the player where he got good advice. That's what De Jong should have the best of the best.
Look, I get that. I don't think he's been badly advised. They took the deferred wages because Barca needed him to. The fact he hasn't left is because he's been advised, right? De Jong would be an idiot to walk away from 17 million that he's owed. And it still appears that Barca are under more pressure than anybody else to move him on so they can sign more players and register people. But we'll see how this comes out. In terms of picking Chelsea over Man United, listen, you've got the Erik ten. All we've really got to offer him is the Erik ten Hag factor and the fact we build the team around him. Chelsea can offer him the Tuchel factor. They can offer him. We can build the midfield around you. They can offer him Champions League football. They can also confidently talk in a room and say, we think with you and with the other signings, we can challenge for a Premier League title. And that's a genuine possibility with Chelsea, with Tuchel and the players they're signing. Man United can't say that to him. We don't even know in 2 years if we can challenge for a league title. So look, that's why I put Chelsea well ahead of us.
If that's the case, Terry, then we should sit down with Erik ten Hag and say, look, I know you want De Jong and you want this player, but we just, at the moment, our club is not that attractive to these players. We can't get them. Simply, we just can't get them, Terry. And
mate,
go for Ruben Neves. Go for someone like that.
I hear you completely, mate. I do. Mo, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. I know there's lots more of you backstage, but I have got heading to London today as we've got our big live event tonight previewing the start of the Premier League season. I want to just say thank you to everybody that's tuned in so far, all of our new members. Please smash that like button before you leave and come back when it re-uploads and leave your comments below as well. Not enough comments get left on live videos after the fact. I know you've been putting the live comments in where you're live, but come back and leave us your comments. I want your thoughts and your feelings on these deals, and I want to know where you think. I want to know where you think this is going to lead Chelsea to. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'm going to see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.